good morning. Thank you all for being here today. It's nice to see you all. I'm going to be talking today about being an overcomer. Some of you may have seen recently that there was a study that was released, or not a study, but the newest annual version or update of the study. This is actually I don't know the name of the study. It's the happiness study, or some study that they do about countries all around the world and how they rate in terms of happiness level. And up until this year, America was always in the top 20. But this year, we dropped. We dropped down to, I think, 23rd place from 18th. And once again, whenever studies like this come out, I don't know if I'm the only person who feels this way, but I felt, okay, another study that tells us something we already know. Don't think it was a surprise to anybody that our happiness level has gone down. But it is good to have the information, I think. It's good to have the data. And one thing that they specifically keyed in on in the study is that the main difference between last year and this year is the 30 and under category. The category of people 30 and under, in terms of their quality of happiness in their life, really plummeted. And once again, if you work with young people, if you have young children in school, this will not come as a surprise to you whatsoever. I think but it is interesting because in America we have so many material blessings. We have an abundance, and yes, things cost more now and expenses have risen, and there's things to be stressed about. But I think that one of the things in this happiness study, it's not necessarily correlated to those things. And, just from my personal perspective, I think that one of the challenges of our culture, in Western culture, is that we tend to see things as very relativistic. There's not really a right and wrong. There's not really a morality. There's not a God. At least this is what a lot of our young people are being taught and experiencing in their life. And so inherently, that also means that there's not really a purpose. There's not a deeper meaning of life. Life is just whatever you wish to make it. Do what makes you happy. And I think that one of the things that we were watching a video actually on last week, Adonia's school had a parent meeting, and we were watching a video about this point. And one of the scholars was saying that one of the caveats of pursuing happiness is that people who tend to pursue happiness as a goal tend to be less happy. And I think that there's an assumption, too, that if we look at life as being not having like a right or a wrong or like a specific meaning, that should liberate us in a sense. I don't have to feel pressured to live my life a certain way. So that's liberating. I can just live however I want. But I don't think it is liberating. I think that us human beings, deep down, we understand that there is meaning in life. There is a purpose in life. There is something more than just what we see on the surface. There is something more to just doing whatever we feel like doing in the moment. And so to hear that life doesn't necessarily have a deeper meaning or a deeper purpose, actually I think is very depressing. It's very disempowering. Because I think we need purpose. We need meaning. And if we don't know what it is in the moment, then we need to seek to understand what it is, not to be told that there is no meaning. So life is far from meaningless, and I believe that we know that. But I think that even if we know that or we believe that or we understand it, it's not necessarily easy to live that way. It's not easy to live with that conviction. So at our meeting at the school, we were talking about challenges and how, the question was, are challenges in life, stress, hardships, are they good for us? And pretty much everybody felt that yes, challenges are good because through challenges we grow, through challenges we develop character, we develop resilience, these kind of things. But at the same time, we all could admit to some degree, I believe, that we don't live our life we don't live our life that way. Maybe we know challenges are good. Maybe we know that challenges help us to grow and to become better people, but we don't actively go seeking out challenges. We don't actively go out seeking uncomfortable situations. Maybe we do in some areas of our life, sports or, in the pursuit of career or money. We recognize, if I endure certain challenges, I can get a raise, or I can get a better job, or I can move up in my career. If the purpose is compelling enough, then often we won't hesitate to seek out those challenges. But oftentimes, the challenges that are most meaningful to us, challenges in our families, challenges in our relationship with our spouse or with our kids or with our parents, these things, through overcoming those things, we actually develop a much deeper sense of gratitude and humility and love in our life. These are all things that we seek for and want, but they're actually really hard to embrace. And I think that a lot of times we don't really want to seek after them. We generally try to avoid those challenges because frankly speaking, life already has challenges, and we try to seek comfort where we can. Perhaps in a similar way, we also understand that there's more to this life than the world that we see in front of us. And science is already confirming this. We see a hand, a chair, a piece of, flooring, but science is already telling us this is not really what we are seeing. This is just what we experience. What the reality is it's like 99% empty space. And the movement of the molecules and the atoms and the relationship between all those things is what creates the experience that we're seeing. But if the movement stopped, all of those things would just simply cease to exist. We understand that there's more to life than what we see. I don't remember, I've heard it said in a number of different ways, but we are spiritual beings on a physical journey. There's probably different ways you could say that. We're on a long path, and a short, tiny little piece of that path is spent here in this world. Compared to our life in the spirit world, it's going to be like the blink of an eye. And we know that because we've talked about it many times. We understand that. I mean, I assume that most of us here believe in that. But if you don't, I understand. But that's our understanding of life. And yet, it's actually not easy to live like that is our reality. It's not easy to live like, this life is like just a short part of my life, don't get too stressed about the here and the now and making money and, doing errands and all these things, We tend to focus on those almost entirely. And then the afterlife is almost like a afterthought. But I've had some very interesting experiences with spirit world, of which I'm not really going to get into this morning, but I was reflecting on them this morning. And I know that many people I've talked to here have had really just like their experience is so compelling. It's so undeniable. And I think that's a reason why many of you are here today, because you know that there's something more. You know that it's undeniable in your mind, in your experience of life. So I thought it would be good to talk about that a little bit today. And one of the things that I love and I find so fascinating about what the divine principle teaches us is this concept of returning resurrection. So I know that maybe, it's been a while since we've talked about this topic, or for some of you, maybe this is your first time hearing about it. It's easy to, in the spectrum of our life, to think that we are an individual going on a journey. But the Bible really tells us that it's not really the case. We're not just isolated individuals in this world living our life, going through our different things. It's more than that. And John, Jesus explained, I tell you the truth, the Son can do nothing by himself. He does only what he sees the Father doing. Whatever the Father does, the Son also does. So even Jesus is saying, I am not free to just do whatever I want to do in my life. Jesus was sharing that he's following in his Father's footsteps, doing what God wished for him in his life, the path that God had set him on in his life. And, to some degree, it's not really that different for us. We're also on a path that God has led us a certain way, and we are, sometimes we struggle with it, but we're also following on that path as well. This is from Exodus. He says, I lavish unfailing love to 1,000 generations. I forgive iniquity, rebellion, and sin, but I do not excuse the guilty. I lay the sins of the parents upon their children and grandchildren. The entire family is affected, even children in the third and fourth generations. So here, the Bible is talking about how we are not just isolated individuals. The things that we do, especially the mistakes and the victories and the things that are unresolved in our life, they get passed on. They get inherited, for better or for worse. And as the descendants, or the children, or 3-4 generations down, we also inherit the baggage of the past. We inherit the mistakes. And not just on a relational level, emotional baggage, but also the spiritual baggage as well. Because mistakes have to be corrected. Wrongs have to be righted, if that's even a word. And this is from the Divine Principle. It says, according to the principle of creation, the growth of the human spirit requires two kinds of nourishment: life elements received from God, and vitality elements received through give and take action with our physical self. Spirits can neither grow nor be resurrected apart from a physical self. Consequently, the spirits of people who died before they could reach perfection during their earthly life can be resurrected only by returning to earth and completing their unaccomplished responsibility through cooperation with earthly people, with us. By assisting people of faith living on the earth to fulfill their missions, the spirits may complete their missions at the same time. Herein lies the meaning behind the verse, which foretold in the last days the Lord will come with his holy myriads. We call this process returning resurrection. And this is not a new concept. This is, I know that for many people, even lifelong Christians, haven't really heard of this concept of spirits coming and dwelling within human beings, seeking to be resurrected through our trying to live a righteous and faithful life. But it's not a totally uncommon concept in the Bible, and I think that probably Jesus spoke a lot about it, and we just never wrote it down. But this is from Matthew. Jesus said, when an impure spirit comes out of a person, it goes through arid places, seeking rest, and does not find it. Then it says, I will return to the house I left. The person, when it arrives, it finds the house unoccupied, swept clean, and put in order. Then it goes and takes with it 7 other spirits more wicked than itself. They go in and live there, and the final condition of that person is worse than the first. So, Jesus referred to this concept that didn't necessarily capture the essence of seeking resurrection and growth and to support the people of faith at the time. But the point is that there are so many generations How many millions and billions of people have come before us? What are they doing, the common understanding up until now is that they're just stuck. They will be stuck forever. Sorry for them. But God has set up a way that even those people can be resurrected. They can be liberated. How many millions and billions of people had to die in history young because of disease, or they didn't have enough food, or war? It wasn't uncommon for 14 and 15 and 16-year-olds to fight in wars in the past. Like, we can't even imagine that concept today. It's so barbaric. But it's the reality of history. How many people were stuck in their life and weren't able to do what they wanted to do? How many people were enslaved? How many people were abused? Many people weren't able to live a happy and fulfilling life. They had regrets, and they made mistakes, and their lives were left unresolved. And many people suffered. And so those people also, God loves those people. They're not alive anymore. They're in the spirit world. But through us, they can be liberated. They can be resurrected. But, they're going to come and they're going to find their descendants. They're going to find like-minded people. They're going to find better people, just like you would do if you were trying to seek out someone who could help you, raise you up in your life, a coach, a successful entrepreneur, whatever, And they're going to come and they're going to hang out with you and try to support you, but they're going to bring their baggage with them. And we will be affected by that. We'll be influenced by that. And we will have to we'll have to overcome our challenges and carry them, and while carrying their baggage with us at the same time. And this is the system that God has put in place for us to be able to help those people. And it puts a burden on us, but at the same time, we already have challenges that we are striving to overcome anyway, and through overcoming them, they can get some benefit, they can get some support. So maybe this puts a little bit in perspective how not meaningless our lives are. Just from one perspective, just one angle, that our life is not meaningless. The challenges that we go through, yes, there are times where the things that we do, the decisions that we make, the efforts that we make, it doesn't feel like it matters. It doesn't feel like it makes any difference. I don't think I'm alone in feeling that way sometimes. But I just want to impart today that our lives have more meaning than we think they do, even in just this one way. But I could probably give 10 sermons on why our lives have meaning. I just want to, just today, just to talk about this one point. But I do think it's a very meaningful point. That the challenges that we go through in life are not just about us. It's not just about me, it's not just about you. So when we are tempted to become indifferent, to stop caring, to abandon our responsibilities, to give in to blame and anger and bitterness, to be dishonest, to try to take shortcuts and take advantage of people. I often, I'm amazed by the indifference that people seem to have in the world about the way that people are willing to take advantage of others, step on others. Even simple things like driving behind a car and just watching them throw trash out the window, It sometimes amazes me, but I think that those people must feel like it doesn't matter. I feel like if those people felt like it mattered, their actions, the things that they did, stealing something or lying about something or disrespecting another person, then I think that people would think more seriously about the actions and the repercussions of their actions. To think that, I am a part of God's trying to restore this world, that God is working to restore this world through me. in my life. God is trying to right the wrongs of history. God is trying to build a foundation for future generations through my life, through your life. That gives my life meaning. I am carrying the weight of my ancestors and others that are rooting for me, that are counting on me to overcome and to grow in my life and to fulfill what I am here to fulfill, so that through me, they can also have fulfilled something for God that maybe they wanted to do in their life. Here's one more excerpt from the divine principle on this topic. The providence of restoration begins with an individual, expands to the family, nation, and world, and ultimately will bring restoration to all of heaven and earth. Although the mission given to each individual, now we're talking about us, may only be a part of the greater whole, it also unfolds according to this pattern. Each mission begins at the individual level and expands its scope to the family, nation, and world level. To take an example from the Bible, the mission began with Abraham at the individual and family levels, was passed down to Moses at the national level, and to Jesus at the worldwide level. Spirits who cannot complete their missions during their earthly life must return to people on earth who share the same type of mission as they did during their lifetime. When a spirit assists an earthly person to fulfill God's will, the person will fulfill not only his own mission, but also the mission of the spirit who has helped him. So, on this journey, which I admit is challenging at times, we must take advantage of the resources that we have available to us and the help that we have. It's not a replacement for our responsibility. Our responsibility is to deal with the challenges that come into our life with the best heart and attitude that we can and become overcomers. But they help. So, we have holy candles, right? These were given to us by our true parents to help us to, these were sanctified and prayed over by and multiplied to all our communities and to our families to help us, to help create a clean spiritual environment in our homes and in our churches and wherever we go. And we have the holy salt. And when our kids were younger, Mia would sometimes wake up in the middle of the night with night terrors. I know some of you have maybe had that experience with your kids, but or maybe when you were young. But she would wake up in the middle of the night, and she would just be like inconsolable, and she would be so scared, and she would be like in her bed, like looking at something in the corner of the room, and we couldn't see anything, but we couldn't even like talk to her. We couldn't make her feel better. But we actually, many people would probably go to a therapist or psychologist or get medication, these kind of things, which we probably would have been open to, but we didn't need to because we actually just threw some holy salt in that direction, and right away she would calm down. She would just calm down, lay back in bed, and go back to sleep, like within seconds. And then we would light a candle in her room, and she would ask for the candle after that. This went on for maybe like a month or something, and then it just kind of went away. But I don't know what was going on. I couldn't see anything. I'm not a very spiritually aware person, but I could see the immediate cause and effect. And I thought that was really powerful. And I thought, hey, you know what? Like we shouldn't rely on these things to like make our problems go away. But there's nothing wrong with using these gifts that have been given to us to help us in our life so that we can overcome some of these challenges without as much heartache and difficulty and stress. If there's something we can do that's been freely given to us for the cost of a candle, to be able to create a better spiritual environment in our homes, for our kids, for our families, then we should use them, I believe. Anyway, I became a very strong advocate for holy salt and holy candles after that experience, because I just saw like, wow, that was really helpful for us, because we didn't know what to do we couldn't fix the problem. So we were really grateful for that. But also, like, being able to, we have the opportunity to liberate our ancestors, to be able to, pay a little bit of money and sign some forms, go to a workshop, and then they go to a workshop in the spirit world and they get some spiritual benefit. These are things that we don't have to do. No one's like requiring it of us, but these are things that we can do to help them, and by what's the word? In a way, we help ourselves as well, because they are connected to us. So these are all things that we can do these are some things that we can just do in our life to help us through the challenging times, and to remember that my life is meaningful. I'm an overcomer. Through my overcoming, the challenges that I'm faced with in my life, God is working to build a greater foundation. God's working to right the wrongs of the past. So that's my message. Please join me in prayer. Good morning, our dearest Heavenly Parent. We are always being reminded of all that you are doing in our lives, Heavenly Parent, and the efforts that you are making to bring goodness into our lives, to bring people into our lives, to give us the tools and the ability and the strength and the friendships and the wisdom to be able to overcome the challenges, because you know that they are real for us, Heavenly Parent, and many times not even just the result of our own mistakes, but we are also dealing with the mistakes of the past, and we, Heavenly Parent, really want to find strength and courage in the fact that we are walking in the footsteps of amazing people of the past who have walked in these same footsteps. And also, we have the opportunity today. We are alive. We have the ability to make choices. We have the ability to overcome hardships. We have the ability to choose our direction in life, Heavenly Parent. And many people in the past, they didn't have a lot of those same freedoms, Heavenly Parent. And we're grateful to be alive. We're grateful to be here, despite whatever challenges we may be going through. Thank you so much for your grace. Thank you so much for sending your Son and sending true parents to us that help us to have perspective in life, help us to be able to see our purpose in life, and to give us the tools to overcome, Heavenly Parent. We know you are rooting for us. We are rooting for each other. We thank you so much for all your grace and your love and your patience with us, and offer this time together as your children, as brothers and sisters here in this church, and this message and service. And I pray this in my name, Michael Adonia Hendrick, a blessed central family. Amen and adieu. Thank you.